everyone, and Kate here for the January video in my and Meghan Hanet's almost year-long read-along through Louisa May Alcott's works. We're calling it a Year of Louisa May, and we're using the hashtag Louisa May 2020. And the January selection was the follow-up to Little Women, the sequel, and that is Little Men. So next month, we will be reading the final in that series, and that is Jo's Boys. Unfortunately, this was not really a book that I loved. It was kind of a low point for me to just love Little Women so much, to be just so enamored with it, and worrying that I wouldn't enjoy it as much, reading it again and enjoying it even more. Just something about Little Women is so special to me. And I'm just a little bit perplexed at how much that I didn't really feel like I connected with this book, because Louisa she didn't love Little Women and she didn't love Little Men, but to me, there's just something really special about Little Women. And whereas I know some people critique Little Women for feeling overly saccharine, I don't get that sense, because I think there is kind of this balance of sweet, sentimental moments with really hard things. Whereas this, it did feel saccharine to me. And just kind of my threshold for what is like the right balance, I don't know, of like sweetness and little life lessons, to me in Little Women is there's a great mixture of that and a nice balance. Whereas in this, it just felt like lesson from lesson to lesson. Another thing that I really struggled with in this book, unfortunately, is connecting with any of the characters. I think that Jo, she did seem lively and she seemed effervescent like Jo is, but she didn't seem, quite as fully fleshed out. She didn't seem quite as authentically Josephine March as she is in the first one. And I was a little bit sad, because I thought, oh, you know what? You seem a little bit different. And I know people do change with age, but just the Jo that I know and I love, I didn't sense it quite as much in this. And in this book, Jo is running Plumfield School in Aunt March's old house that she has given to Jo. And she is running it with the professor, and they have a whole slew of boys. Some of them are their sons. They also have Demi, who is John and Meg's son, attending. And then Daisy, his twin sister, visits a fair amount of the time. And there are all of these boys attending the school. And so I think because maybe there were so many boys, I didn't really feel like you got to know really intimately any of them. There's around 13 or 14 of them. And so you're really just getting these brief little snippets with each one. And whereas in Little Women, I feel you have the 4 March sisters who are the main characters. And there's Marmee and Lori, a couple other characters, but you really get to focus in on those characters and get to see all of their strengths and their weaknesses. And to me, I felt kind of disappointed at the end. Like, there were so many boys that I didn't really feel I got to know any of them particularly well. I kind of got to see the little idiosyncrasies about the different boys, but I didn't really feel like I was a friend of them by the end. You know how with some books that you read, you feel like you're a friend by the end. So I didn't get that sense while I was reading this. And like I said, it just felt like it was kind of going from lesson to lesson. Jo saying, well, you need to try harder, and kind of what they had failed at and how they could do better. And it just, I don't know. It was just kind of a miss with me. So I do feel this guilt, being a host, one of the hosts of the Year of Louisa May, of not loving every single book. And that's just silly. You can't put that pressure on yourself as a reader. And I can still love Louisa May Alcott. And I am really looking forward to the other books. I don't want to get too caught up in the fact that I didn't love one of the books. And I still very much feel like I love Little Women, even if I didn't necessarily love the sequel. I think also that Little Men, I couldn't get it out of my head that it was really written out of necessity. Little Women, she needed to have an income. when she wrote Little Women. There's like no getting around that. But Little Men happened when the death of her brother-in-law did. And he died, and she thought, oh, I need to write another book. I need to write something for my sister's boys. Now that they don't have a father, I need to help them in any possible way that I can, which is so sweet. And I was just really touched by that. That is such a caring thing to do as an aunt and as a sister. When your sister's husband would die, to say, I'm going to do everything in my power to help take care of you and your boys. And so she wrote Little Men. And I couldn't get that out of my head, like it was written out of necessity. I've heard certain people talk about a couple of Ellen Montgomery's books that later on in the Anne series that they felt like you could really tell were written out of necessity as opposed to just this joy of the storyline that had come to them. So I didn't strongly dislike this. It was just quite the come down after Little Women. So I'm sorry if this is a bit of a bummer of a video for those of you that loved it. I'm so happy that there are people out there that have loved it. I have heard a couple people talk about it on social media, just seeing that they have loved it. Onwards and upwards, I am looking forward to Jo's Boys. I am still very excited about this year of Louisa May, and I think it should just be anticipated that you will not love 100% of an author's books, even if they are a beloved author. And I did want to read the last sentence in this book, the last two sentences, which I think the last sentence in particular would make a great embroidery. It says, with the last words, the circle narrowed till the good professor and his wife were taken prisoner by many arms and half hidden by the bouquet of laughing young faces which surrounded them, proving that one plant had taken root and blossomed beautifully in all the little gardens. And this is the last sentence that I think would make a great embroidery. For love is a flower that grows in any soil, works its sweet miracles undaunted by autumn frost or winter snow, blooming fair and fragrant all the year, and blessing those who give and those who receive. So she still does have the beautiful writing. Louisa May Alcott was very skilled at putting a turn of phrase together and describing things. And yes, so we shall continue in the month of February with Jo's Boys. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Please comment down below with what you thought of Little Men, and I will be back for another video soon. Bye.